everybody, welcome back to an episode of the Gamers Podcast. We're back here. I guess it hasn't been too long since the last episode, but just again trying to stay consistent with all the series, kind of rotate here on the channel, the usual stuff. But we're back here, and I think I have a very interesting topic to talk about here today. And I've kind of done these kind of videos, kind of these analysis videos, if you will, just talking about different games and kind of things that have happened in the past. It's all gaming stuff, related to the podcast, but it's kind of definitely not the first time I've done this kind of video on the podcast. Just kind of a review video of it's kind of the little formula. It's kind of hard to explain. Just talking about like different games. I've had it here on the channel before with the podcast and whatnot. But this is something I've been kind of looking to talk about for a while now. And yes, I'm reusing the Fortnite gameplay that's kind of already on the channel. This is past gameplay that was on the channel before, and yes, I kind of did the same thing for I think another kind of just other background gameplay. It's if you watch a Fortnite video, you'll seen it before. Just because I deleted Fortnite off my Xbox, and I don't really feel like I don't have the space to re-download it and whatever. So I'm just kind of reorganically using the gameplay, but it's all in the name of good things. That obviously directly relates to what we're talking about, Fortnite. So this is a video, like I was saying, I've kind of been looking to do for a while now and kind of talk about it. And it's kind of going to be more or less of a raw, kind of straight up my take on it. Not really reading off of any particular article or script here. It's kind of going to be straight up my take. And it's 100% my opinion based as well. So if you think, maybe differently about Fortnite or kind of what happened to it, maybe, that's fine. We all have our different opinions and whatnot. But this is personally my opinion. So kind of, going to be getting right into it. What happened to Fortnite? Because I think there's things to be discussed there, like of what really happened to Fortnite. It was a great game back in the day. I remember playing it a ton back in 2018, 2019, and then after, even in 2020. Then after 2020, I stopped playing it, at least for me. But I played it a ton, and Fortnite was in its prime in 2018 and 2019, and even 2020, and it was a very popular battle royale game, and it was a great game. And it's just what happened to it, because in my opinion, pretty much any time after 2021, in my opinion, it fell off. Now, kind of going back to the start of Fortnite, it was a great game. It really started to gain traction in 2018. A little bit, maybe a little bit 2017, just for the battle royale, straight up, 100 player PvP, player versus player. It was just very simple, very simple map layout, simple weapon layout, nothing too crazy. And that's just, of course, how it started, and everybody loved it, I think, for how simple it was, and kind of just how it was set up. And I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed playing it. I remember playing it with a bunch of friends. I have some fond memories of older Fortnite, Season 3, Season 2, Season 4, and kind of all the seasons kind of leading up to it, kind of its downfall. And that's kind of what, the downfall. But, I had so much fun. It was such a simple game, and I had some good I guess there wasn't really a storyline per se, but there was kind of half a storyline just kind of shown through the map. Like, you had Dusty Depot. Just for example, the Dusty Depot then turned into Dusty Divot after the kind of seasons changed around a little bit. And then that was interesting. It was interesting to see. Of course, he had a bunch of the OG skins. I really enjoyed some of those. I remember getting my first, like, bundle pack or whatever. I forget what it was called. I think it was, like, the something. I don't know, but I remember getting my first bundle pack, and that was one of my fondest memories of Fortnite. And I was so excited to show all my friends, and it was just such a fun time for me. And I know this is kind of my personal experience I'm speaking off of, but I think I could speak for some other people that there's one of the best times in gaming, I think, amongst others, of course. But I think it was one of the best times in gaming in recent history. The prime peak Fortnite. Everybody was playing it. Everybody was enjoying it. It was popping off. And I think everybody really enjoyed themselves. I could speak for everybody, I think, to say I think everybody really enjoyed themselves back in prime Fortnite playing. It was so much fun to play with your friends or whatnot. And then Season 5 came out. Season 5 was one of my favorite seasons, I think, of all time. And then I remember, I think that's when I bought my first Battle Pass. That was when I first bought the Battle Pass. Then I remember watching, like, the Rift, I think. I remember when it was, like, kind of turned into a dark screen. I'm kind of, like, paraphrasing here. But I remember when they had the event where it was, like, a dark screen. The game was kind of off for a couple hours. I remember watching that live. It was, like, a live event. I remember going to the Marshmello concert that they had. It was, like, another live event back in 2019. just just listen to some of my happiest memories in Fortnite. And I just had so much fun playing those simpler times, really. And and the formula kind of switched up. They it was such a simple game, and then they kind of switched it up, and then everything just kind of got confusing. Things kind of started to shift in one direction, kind of with Fortnite in a way that I don't really like. Pretty much after 2020, um, is when I stopped playing. I played it all the time, and then really since then, I kind of since then I stopped playing it just because it kind of got too confusing. I didn't really enjoy playing it anymore. And I think really the downfall is I think they just added too much stuff. After like they made it too confusing. Because after like they did like and even kind of dating myself now. I'm kind of confusing. It's kind of confusing for me saying this, but like even now, I think they did the chapter 2. I think they added like chapter 2. Then they brought like OG Fortnite back, and then I know I was playing that for a while just because of, I figured I'd give it a try. Um, but then it just got super confusing, and I think a lot of people would be with me if I to say it got really confusing and it kind of got hard to keep up with, and it just wasn't as fun. The magic of what Fortnite used to be, the spark kind of just died out after a while, and it was especially as more newer games came out, like with more Call of Duty games coming out, and kind of more and I'm not saying Call of Duty's battle royale, but more kind of battle royale based games kind of came out, and kind of like copy and paste of Fortnite, and it just kind of got dull. I think that's another one of the things. Fortnite just got too dull. It just the magic kind of died out. I mean, I think that's really all there is to it. The magic of Fortnite died out. In addition to all the things that they kind of added, that it's kind of like, it's kind of hard to keep up with. They kind of made it too hard to keep up with, and I just think it was, I don't know, it kind of fell off. And to this day, a lot of people still play it. I think it's still a very popular game, but it's just you don't really hear about it too much anymore. Like it's not completely dead, but it's just you don't hear about it as much as you used to. And I guess the only the same formula can go for so many times, but you don't really hear about Fortnite as much as you used to. So it kind of fell off, and like it's just kind of sad to see a game fell from grace. And I think personally, my opinion is they just added too much stuff. It kind of got too hard to keep up with, and it just kind of got too confusing, and just really, like I was saying, the magic, the spark, died out. You know what I mean? It died out, and it just doesn't feel even then, like in this gameplay, and this gameplay wasn't very, I didn't record this that long ago, and whenever I put the Fortnite gameplay out on the channel, when I was playing through this, it just didn't feel the same. I hopped on, I was like, and this is the first time I played Fortnite in like a while. I was like, what is this? Like I played here and there, but this is like the first full time I played in a while, and I was like, what is this? This isn't what I grew up with. It's certainly just changed. They have cars and stuff like that now. It just certainly changed, I think. Now, I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever. I'm not saying it completely like is a horrible game to play. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. It's still a decent game to play. I just think that it's just kind of not really what it used to be, and it's hard for especially some of the older players who have played since kind of the beginning. It's just hard for me to kind of keep up with it and appreciate it for what it is nowadays, as to compare to what I kind of, grew up with. Maybe not grew up, but as to kind of compare to what I kind of went with the OG game and whatnot. So it's just kind of a shame. But again, it's not a horrible game to play to this day. It's not the worst game you could play out there, but it just kind of is like it's just not what it used to be. In conclusion, it's just kind of I think just in conclusion, the spark died out, and it's just really not what it used to be. I think that was Fortnite's true downfall. They just added too much stuff, and it kind of got confusing with the chapters and whatnot, kind of like I was saying. And I think that's truly the formula or the key of Fortnite's kind of downfall and eventual fall off. And I think that's what it's right to call it, a fall off and kind of fall from grace. But again, it's not the worst game to play. If you have a couple friends, I would still play it. But it's certainly not what it used to be. If you guys have played it from kind of day one, or the early days of Fortnite, I think everybody can agree, it's certainly not what it used to be. And I think things change. Some things change for the worse. Some things change for the best. And I think Fortnite kind of changed a little bit for the worst, maybe a little bit for the best. It's kind of a neutral change, but I think mostly for the worst, just because I think it just got too hard to keep up with. And I really think that's what happened at the end of the day, and it just lost the magic. So In conclusion, that's my final conclusion. Now, of course, everybody can have different opinions. You could think Fortnite's the best game to ever grace this earth. That's your opinion. Whatever it is, that's fine. I respect your opinion. Everybody has different opinions, and I always say is entitled to their different opinions. But this is my personal opinion. Like I was saying, just kind of raw footage here, kind of just going straight in. And yeah, that's my personal thoughts and personal, you know, reasoning to why I think Fortnite kind of fell off and why it kind of had a little bit of a downfall pretty much after 2020. So, um, yeah, so that'd pretty much do it for this video. It wasn't the longest video, but I figured, it was a video I had kind of in my notes. I figured it would be an interesting topic to talk about here on the podcast. I think it would be, a lot of people can perhaps relate to this and kind of go back to it. And I think it was a pretty interesting video to make. So, again, it wasn't the longest one, but I figured it would be a pretty interesting one to make. And yeah, that'll pretty much do it. So, of course, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Of course, it's always open. Whatever you think of Fortnite, do you think it fell off like I do? Do you think the same as I do? Do you think differently? Whatever it is it may be, I think I would love, I'd love to see your guys' comments and, thoughts on everything with, what you think happened to Fortnite and kind of maybe what you think went wrong or what didn't go wrong. Whatever it is it may be, I would like to see comments down below. I think this is a very interesting topic to talk about. So I would definitely be liking to see those comments. But yeah, with all that being said, that'll pretty much do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of the Gamers Podcast. And along with all the discussion comments and whatnot, leave feedback, all that good stuff, the usual. Love to see feedback, the video and whatnot. Any video really on the channel. So love to see all that stuff. Always in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe for more content. Like if you all good stuff. Discord, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. Links in the description as always. And yeah, got a lot more stuff planned. And this video was just something I had kind of in the backlogs. And I figured it'd be pretty interesting, kind of like I was saying. But yeah, I got a lot more stuff planned, so stay tuned. But for now, I will see you guys in the next video.